wondering if 10 years ago this was, 5 years ago even, if this was another language. Right, again, this is an evolving crisis, and that the housing crisis could be what prompted a number of financial institutions to redo their strategy, to redo, missions in general stay the same. And so in the strategic planning process, it's about honing vision, values, and goals.
So for values, would you say it's more internal? Because for me, it sounds like the Bank of America values is like how they treat each other, not necessarily how they treat their customers.
Well, it should be both. It should be, again, the values that guide their work. What are the key pieces that guide how they do whatever it is that they do.
So they might want to. I'm just kidding.
We can email them and see. Thoughts about the organizational goals?
The National Science Foundation, it says to perform as a model organization, but I was wondering, for what?
What is
for
it?
who? For what? And also, with the United Way, it says promote healthy ideas, but it's a little vague. I don't know. It's healthy ideas. For me, healthy ideas meant the first time I read it, I was like, healthy food. But then I saw United Way, and I was like, this doesn't look like a food company. I don't know.
And you know what the United Way does?
It says here improve education, so I'm guessing that it's some sort of education oriented.
So it's actually like an umbrella group for social service and nonprofit organizations. So it provides the infrastructure for a lot of small community-based organizations to fundraise. So, and maybe that's where the healthy ideas comes from in terms of being open to new organizations. Because I think traditionally there had been a education and kind of poverty reduction organization. And so again, maybe health promotion, mental health, wellness is something new, and they kind of put it all under healthy ideas.
So it sounds like you kind of have to know what the organization is to know why they have their particular goals, values, and because the ones I like are the ones that you can tell what kind of organization it is, or you can start to tell what kind of organization it is by reading it. But a lot of these you have to, and I know all of these organizations or companies, so a lot of these, it's like I would never guess. Like if somebody, the National Science Foundation goals, like if somebody just told me transform the frontiers, innovate for society, and perform as a model organization, like I could apply that to a million things. I would never know that was National Science Foundation.
Mm-hmm. And all those goals actually are pretty generic in that way. And I think part of the strategic planning also is, in a lot of ways, a strategic plan is a calling card to your community. And so, in some ways, these are just examples. Not all of them are great. But something to think about as you go through your processes, like how do all of these align? How does it, communicate your brand? How does it communicate, again, your mission and vision?
Well, like the goal for Seventh Generation, which is a cleaning, they make products like recycled toilet paper and non-toxic cleaners and things like that. So their goals, it's like perfect I thought that one was excellent for the company.
It's kind of like when I read that, it kind of made me think of their values.
Yeah.
Like they're probably directly associated to their values.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It would be interesting to see that all four for the same company.
Yeah.
See.
But a lot of these are internal documents, so actually I pulled all of these off the websites. And I was actually looking for examples of any one site that would have all of these things together, and none of these did.
Yeah.
So I just kind of pulled some that were better or clearer for each one. Okay. So now it's time to develop a strategic plan.
Okay, so this is.
Mm-hmm. I would say don't stress as much about wordsmithing because we don't have a ton of time, but maybe just getting ideas down about, you know, what an organization might be, again, what might be the direction of mission, vision, values, and goals.
So you have name, mission, vision.
And if
goals.
it's easier and you do want to use a specific organization that you know about as a sample, you're welcome to do that as well.
So, the 4, 5, 6, name, mission, vision. On the back, we have goals. Is there a values, or do we not have to worry about values?
You don't have to worry about values in this one.
Okay.
So you did a quick self-plan to actually do it.
Yeah, right. Now we have to do better than that.
After we critique
Okay, so I.
Do you have an idea?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. Okay, what's your idea?
Well, first of all, let me finish with reading these questions because I haven't actually read through all the questions yet. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, so, my organization would be, my fake organization would be a foundation that, or a nonprofit, because it says unified type of organization. Nonprofit, for-profit, charitable foundation, government institution. So I guess it would be we call it a charitable foundation that would give scholarships to, college students with mental illnesses. Oh yeah, you get a scholarship.
That's fine. Okay.
And then solicitor industry, which would be education. Yeah. And customers would be high school and college students. Okay, but if we want to narrow it down even further, we could narrow it down into the high school, because high school students have, I don't know if this is statistically true, or if it's just my opinion, it's probably just my opinion, but it seems like there's a lot of scholarships for high school students that are preparing
Oh,
for college,
oh, yeah.
more so than for people that are actually already in college.
Yeah.
So we're going to put high school out and just do college students on it. So, makes sense?
Okay.
I have no idea how to that for now.
Okay, sure.
And we speak mission and vision and look at goals and what resources would our organization use to implement our plan? Obviously, we have to have a plan in order to answer that question. So, what obstacles? How will your organization do systems and what plan?
You want to think about the mission
Okay,
first.
yeah. So a mission is their statement of purpose and what's going on now, right? So like what are we doing? We're giving money to college students who have no loans, scholarships to college students who have almost that scholarships.
Okay,
So
so-
providing scholarships.
So, providing financial aid through scholarships to students who prove or endure a mental disability, so that they could move forward and so I want to say something that they can feel like it is possible to receive an education, despite the fact that they have a mental disability. Like it shouldn't even be a problem. That they
Okay. But is that going to be in the mission, or would that be a goal or value or vision. Because to me, if you were want to tell the student that they can accomplish that,
Yeah.
that sounds more like a vision to me.
Yeah, but I'm kind of just like, I'm kind of just saying everything right
Oh,
now.
okay, yeah,
Like,
brainstorm.
yeah, sure. It's, yeah, kind of like let it out my thoughts about it, so then we could probably create like a.
It's like stream of
That's-
consciousness, right?
Yeah, that's sort of how I work.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, okay, so for the mission, yeah, we can definitely like say like provide.
I'm gonna write your stream of consciousness. I'm gonna write your stream
Well-
of consciousness, and then we can go back and picture
Okay.
it.
So like providing scholarships for students who demonstrate mental disabilities. Is that?
Well, yeah, I mean, we can work, it doesn't have to be anything like, it's a work in progress, right? We're working on it right now, so let's go ahead and.
Okay, fine. It's just so that like students can feel, students who do have like a mental disability, that they won't be discouraged, that even if they have like a mental disability, it shouldn't be like such a huge obstacle to receive a higher education. That like anything is possible, and so focusing, having particular focus on those students is important because it can be harder for them to realize that getting an education is really important, and it's not like something that cannot be achieved. So providing like scholarships for them can motivate them and make them see that it is possible to receive an education no matter what issues you go through. Yeah. Do you want to say anything?
So, look, we're looking at question 5, is that right? Or are we just brainstorming?
Yeah, we're kind of just like fleshing.
Okay.
Brainstorming.
Okay, so we would be like, it's an underserved community, like there's a lot of scholarships for all, we're going to have some of the most unusual, unique things that you'd never imagine, like if you're left-handed and live in Des Moines, Iowa, and, wear Crocs and, are between 32 and 42, and, then you get the scholarship. But like for people with mental illness, there's only 4 foundations that I know of. And I think 3 of them are only for a specific type of mental illness, which I don't happen to have, so I can't even apply, which is called bipolar disorder or manic depression. So, like, it's one of the most well-known mental illnesses, but I don't happen to have it. So, 3 of the 4 scholarship organizations I know of that in the world that I know of that will give scholarships to people with mental illness, like 3 don't even count, and there's only 4 altogether. So it's really sad and irritating and limiting. So to serve an underserved community with scholarships to lessen the burden, because that's like when you're doing something with your brain, when your brain doesn't work the way everybody else's brain works, it's like, oh yeah, you want to be on this track team or whatever, or a ski team, but you don't have a leg. So, well, for those people now, they've created these legs, these artificial legs that will help you when they're real cool and they're flexible. But for people who they don't have as much support. So to support your progress. Uh-oh, she's coming over there. Me too. Try this
Running down.
Okay, so I think
next time I've got another.
okay.
It's hard.
Yes, which is why
That's the
people
point,
pay
right?
consultants to do this kind of work. Absolutely.
Okay.
So for the mission,
We should grab some
you
water.
could, you want to say to provide, I mean, I'm gonna say what I think.
Yeah.
Let's say what it was. To provide financial assistance through scholarships, to students who demonstrate, any mental disability.
Okay. We don't have to demonstrate.
Oh, I don't know, sorry.
That's okay, it's just one thing. Who
okay.
have
Okay.
students, two students who have mental disabilities.
Is that mine?
That's great. I think that's it right there. I think that's enough, don't you? I mean,
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
it is very straightforward. We can put your other thing about overcoming, we could put that in the vision.
Yeah, okay.
Students are college students, right? 'Cause we're
Right, I was
moving-
gonna say. Mental disability.
Mhm.
With disabilities with two S's?
D-I-S-A-B-I-L-I-T-I-E-S, plural. Students, because students is plural. Okay, so then we do our vision, and in the vision you need some great points which I wrote down, which is overcoming obstacles, anything is possible, you know, it's not something that you can't do. So anything is possible no matter what, and motivation. So I think that's really great for a vision, something that uses those to motivate students to overcome.
So it could be like
motivate or encourage the mentally disabled students or something.
To encourage students to overcome obstacles and believe that achieving an education is not something they cannot do. So I'm gonna write that down.
Mm-hmm. Mental health obstacles, because that's the particular obstacles,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Overcome mental.
You want to see that something?
And believe that achieving an education,
Yeah.
achieving an education involves something we cannot do.
You want to frame that in a positive way then? Instead of, is this like a double negative, right?
Well,
Or if you want to do that as a catchphrase?
more like, and believe that achieving an education is not.
Is the positive way to say it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But unless you're doing this like on purpose, like as an action.
No, it's better to say it's possible.
Awesome.
We did the mission in vision.
Yeah, we're gonna get back though.
You want a couple more minutes to do some goals?
Sure.
Okay.
So we have to. What,
Well, this is like the big goal that's like, okay, so,
so if we look at these as examples of goals,
well, like Facebook, for example,
Following
that's like the best one.
that's the statement.
Oh, sorry.
We're on goals.
The goal, the seventh generation one is like the good
Just basically saying what they're doing. Oh, the stepping stone to our vision. So the stepping stone to
The compliment.
encouraging students to overcome well,
He
I
used
know,
it as
that's
a
really
business.
hard.
The
So we can say, we obviously give out scholarships.
mhm. Educate.
Here, so,
We have to create awareness too,
Yeah.
because people don't even know that people have mental illness and how much less if they're
with mental
So create
so, he definitely used like some of the definitions and,
awareness
that's
of
what-
mental health disability.
But other than that,
Yeah, yeah,
kind
yeah.
of went a different way with it, which was really cool. And then for the ones,
And also just can create awareness.
because they were all.
No, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Community life people,
Promote
so it's actually the
knowledge.
first one. So she did true colors
Mhm.
and,
Well,
so she
creating
so
awareness,
like
like as in
showing
like, for
different
example,
stages and stuff.
how it can be like a struggle.
Siobhan did the
Mhm.
ethical leadership, and she did, it was very
Promote,
like academic, which was interesting, because like she's student life, and, but she did a lot of definitions of like, why
generate
this leader is ethical,
higher,
you know.
yeah, like,
And then
more money for more
Michelle and
students.
Neil did
Okay.
the
How do you say that?
and they just,
Really
they went for it.
Mhm.
It was
generate more
powerful.
money
It
for
was
future
all,
students.
generate
exercise,
more.
yeah, which was pretty cool. And then
It's very
example.
hard, isn't it?
Yeah,
Give me an
generate
example
more,
the skinny is that
financial
people would enjoy it. So that was
resources.
the one first that
Yeah, that's
how
great.
people came to. It was really sad because they did such a great job. It was really engaging.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was the
And speaking of resources, number 8 is about resources. We need donors.
Okay.
So
Also,
also
like,
promote
promote,
interns.
Um,
And I'm like, oh.
higher education for these.
So that one
kinds
was
of
really fun.
Yeah, that's
Like,
great.
Well, but now people have things, so it's an extra.
Yeah, for sure. And then I videotaped all of them, so if anyone's like, I want to do one again, but I forgot what I did. I have all the recordings.
Ready to share out what you came up with?
What?
Ready to share out a little bit?
Yep, yeah, we're kind of like done, I guess.
Well,
Sort of reached
This
the
time,
most. Yeah.
hey, we created an organization.
Yeah.
So you want to say anything?
Okay, so our organization, number 1, is going to be a charitable foundation. Number 2, it's in the field of education. Number 3, the customers are the college students. We haven't come up with a name yet, and I'll share the mission and then turn it over to Brenda. And the mission is to provide financial assistance to college students with mental disabilities. Woohoo!
The vision is to encourage students to overcome mental health obstacles and believe that achieving an education is possible.
Good.
And so our goals, so to give out scholarships and generate more financial resources for these students, to create awareness of mental health disabilities to other people, and to promote higher education for students with mental disabilities.
Thoughts about the process?
I was telling her, CJ, that it's easier to criticize, you know, recommendations
Yes.
of values and goals and stuff than to actually sit down and create it. But I think that criticizing the goals and values and mission statement, the visions, helped us to, like our criticism helped us to like develop like good, you know, or good goals and missions and visions for our organization.
This was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I really liked working with Brenda because she's really smart, and I think we fed off of each other.
Yeah.
And to create an organization off the top of your head.
Right, and I mean, most organizations, this is month-long process,
Yeah.
whole year iteration of doing one thing and another. but I think that it does give you a framework to be able to apply it to organizations you're already part of, or again, start making networks for your new organization. So, yeah. Any other thoughts about the session or things that you can take back either to other groups or in your daily life?
Well, yeah. To really think about what the purpose is of building, like what came out from our own wants, needs, and like kind of going back to those needs and desires for creating an organization, and taking out a mission and goals to achieving those needs.
I really liked this exercise. I really enjoyed. I like the layout of the exercise. I wish that there was, I think it would be fun to do a whole, actually have like an hour-long session to actually do this.
Incubate the organization.
With one other person, just do this whole thing, and so
Yeah, it's
very
highly
cool.
unrealistic that you can actually thoughtfully get through the whole worksheet in half an hour. That means 15 minutes on each page, which is not a lot. You've already brought up some of the topics in terms of, the connectedness between strategic planning and some of the other leadership topics. But just to name a few, it definitely absolutely takes some team building and can lead to team building and the unifying and talking about what an organization's mission, vision, goals, and values are. Obviously communication, right? Because you all need to make sure that you understand these things that you're moving forward with at the same level. Conflict management, right? Which can come from people having different interpretations of where you are with the process of what the vision means. Everyone can be in agreement about the vision, but maybe there's disagreement about the vision, about what the end result of your work is. Same with goals and values, right? Webster has 4 different definitions for values. I was like, oh, maybe I'll define them. But, it just became kind of crazy. I was like, which one do I choose? And so those kinds of things come up in the process. There might be 1 or 2 points that you can get all agreement on, but there is going to be some contention at some point. Or maybe you're able to get through, this process with agreement, but when it comes to the activities that meet your goals, that match your values, that will maybe help you your vision, that can be where the disagreement is. So conflict management is really important. Understanding differences and understanding organizations as well. Understanding kind of where your organization might fit in the larger landscape, and how does your organization, if it's already existing, how does it work and how does it best produce results, right? Because understanding that might impact, how you do your vision or change vision, values, or goals. So, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And share with your friends. We're doing a session tomorrow at Mills Hall,
135.
1:35.
Thank you.
Yay!